Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, continuing on with the Necron learning curve, we're in the Elites slot, which is arguably the worst slot in the Codex for unit choices, but we're going to soldier on. So today we're looking at the Catan, or the Catan Shard as they're now called. Once HQ choice, once incredibly powerful. So powerful that in actual fact you had to ask your opponent for permission to use it. But that's gone, that's the old days. So now these are just a shard of themselves, as the name suggests. So they're just nowhere near as good as they used to be. They're still fun and still awesome models. So yeah, I've got the Deceiver here and the Nightbringer, which are the two GW models. This is my conversion that I made up for the Void Dragon. Which started life off as a Nightbringer. So yeah, if you haven't seen my previous video on that, I've got a series of videos going through how I converted it up, which you might find interesting. But anyway, let's have a look at these guys. So monstrous creatures, got to be good. I mean, monstrous creatures in the Necron list, we haven't really got many others, so that's got to be a good starting point. But there is a bit of a letdown with these guys. And the letdown really is only 4 wounds and only a 4+ invulnerable save. So these guys are very, very vulnerable. Even though they obviously have a good toughness. I mean, they are toughness 7, which is, yeah, that's pretty good. But even so, 4+ save, you've only got 50% chance of saving. Regardless of what's hitting you, you know, 50% chance and only 4 wounds. So you can easily go down. I mean, forget Storm, what they called? Oh God, what are they called? Sternguard, that's the one. Forget Sternguard coming down and poisoning you. I mean, just your normal shots, you know, normal bolters even on 6s. You've only got said lose 4 wounds and you're dead. So that is the disadvantage. They are very vulnerable, and because they're your only monstrous creatures in the list, you know, they can easily be targeted. On top of that, they're incredibly slow. They only move their normal 6 inches, and okay, they can run, and okay, they ignore terrain, so they can, you know, not slowed down by terrain. But even so, very limited amount of movement on these guys. It would have been nice to have jump on them or something. I mean, the Wraith Knight's got jump on them, so why can't these guys have jump? But anyway, different topic, you know, they are what they are. So, having said all that, what is good about them? Well, there's quite a number of different war gear options, which is why I've modelled these guys up differently. So, I use the Nightbringer as my close combat one, and I would actually give him Time's Arrow and Gaze of Death, make him really close combat orientated. I would give this one the Worldscape. I used to give him Dust as well, but I've gone to Pyro Shard on him now, just a little bit of shooty attack as well. And he's like the Deceiver, you know, just deceives the enemy. You could potentially put Grand Illusion on him, but for 40 points. The trouble is with Grand Illusion is you can only move 1 unit. Well, you can only guaranteed that you can only move 1 unit, because it's a D3, so okay, you could move 3. But guaranteed only 1 unit. That's 40 points just to move 1 unit. It's a lot of points. And this one with a Thunderbolt coming out of him here, the Thunder Lightning thing. Yeah, I give him that Transdimensional Thunderbolt. And I'd give him Mulder as well. Give him that extra shooty attack. That's why I modelled these up like that. Now, one thing about the war gear, although there's some good options, you can only take one. You can only take the piece of war gear once. And each one has to have 2 pieces of war gear. So if you were playing dual organisation charts, you could only have 5 of these maximum, because the war gear options just won't allow more than that. So that is sort of an issue when you're building more than one of these guys, because you can't do unit redundancy very well with these. You know, once you've got your assaulty one, your shooty one, and your deceiver one, then they're all totally different. They all have different roles. So it's not like you can have 3 assault Catans and just charge them up the board. If one dies, fair enough, you've got 2 more, you know. But you just can't do that. So using them tactically is a lot more difficult. certainly if you're going to use, you know, a 3, which I do have in my 3 Catan list, it's a tough list to use. It's good fun, but it's tough. Now, what I would recommend to you guys is not to have 3, you know, unless you're a bit of a fluff bunny or you would just want to have fun with it. But in your standard Necron list, I wouldn't have 3. I'd just go for 2 or 1 preferably. And whether you have something a bit more devious, possibly Grand Illusion Worldscape, that is an option. But if I was you, I'd stick to a assault one. Just like the old days, really. You're going to be using this, probably hiding it behind a monolith, moving the monolith up with this right hiding behind, and then when the time comes, just move him out and get him into assault, because he's pretty awesome in assault. And of course, when they die, they do explode as well, and that's quite a nice thing as well. The Necrodemus is strength 4 AP1 hits and a D6 explosion when they die, so that's pretty nice as well. You are going to want other units in your army if you're not going to hide him. Other units that will attract attention, because this by himself, if you had this here and just like a bunch of warriors, it's going to get a lot of shots. It's going to get all your anti-tank shots coming in. You know, it's going to attract attention. So ideally, you want other stuff in the list. You know, ghost arcs, annihilation barges, wraiths. You know, all the stuff that also would attract a lot of shots, just to try and help him survive if you have got him in the open without, you know, terrain or moving terrain like a monolith, or indeed if you have 3. Now the problem that you have with when you have 2 or 3 is it's a massive point sink. I mean, 3 of these guys are nearly 800 points. So if you're paying 1750, 2000 points, you don't have a huge amount of points left to buy other toys. So there's lots to consider with these guys. But yeah, if you fancy having a go, it's not a particularly bad option. It's not a great option, but if you're planning on it, I would definitely recommend just a single one. I'd keep him assault based, and preferably try and hide him behind something like a monolith. Monolith is your best option because you know it's always going to be there. You know, if you're just relying on terrain, then you know, who knows what terrain's going to be on the table. Okay, so I think that's it for these guys. Don't forget they are monstrous creatures, so they have like fear and smash attacks and all that monstrous creature goodness. Okay, so that's it for the Catan. Next we're going to look at flayed ones. Now I know I've covered flayed ones before, but I want to maintain the learning curve looking at all the units, so we'll have another look at flayed ones. Thanks for watching.